The thing is that because I think a lot is happening in people's lives, and we are being asked to respond at such a fast rate to everything. For example, you get a ping or a pong on your phone, and immediately the reflexes are to respond to that message or respond to emails. Previously, we used to get love letters by ship, and that used to take 3 months, 6 months, and we were happy to wait. But now, because the pace of life is so fast, that it's just making us think extra fast. And because it's asking us to think extra fast, we don't have control over the brakes of the mind. And that's one of the reasons why, in a sense, the car is out of control. The mind is out of control because we don't exercise pausing, just taking time out to reflect, to just get a sense of my direction. Where am I headed? What am I doing? What's my purpose? So if we did more of that, we slowed down. And slow here doesn't mean that we are inefficient. Slow just means that I'm able to use my mind in the best way possible for that moment. And that can only happen when I'm in charge of the mind. We always say that a fast car is more difficult to control than a slow car. And that's because we have more maneuvering power. We're able to manage it, control it better. Whereas the fast car, because of the speed, sheer speed, it goes out of control. So I think, if we could all take time out to just be present and observe our thoughts, that would help. For example, we all know that when we do meditate, then our breathing slows down very naturally. Slowing down here means I'm able to take deep breaths. And you can ask any student, after they've sat for 10-15 minutes, they start to take deep breaths, which means I'm able to take in more oxygen. I'm also able to exhale clearly, fully from the lungs. And so the point being that as I take more oxygen, there's more oxygen to the cells, and of course it affects all the organs of the body. Now for the mind, as I learn to meditate, yes, I'm able to observe. It's like on the screen of my mind, I can see every single thought that is passing. And then I'm able to sanction that thought. Do I want this thought to take shape in life or not? And I choose. Meditation helps us to choose the thoughts that we want to implement or we want to set aside and just put a full stop to them. Apart from that, meditation is a technique to heal the mind. It's a technique to heal the soul. So we often talk about the bankruptcy of the soul. And so what is that? Bankruptcy of the soul is when all the power has seeped away from the soul. So as I think positive, powerful, pure thoughts, I'm able to regain that energy in the mind. And that's why we call it a powerful mind, as opposed to the monkey mind, as opposed to the weak mind. So when my mind is powerful, then I'm able to exercise choice. And that's what makes the difference in each individual's life. So yes, everybody is seeking power of some kind. Some want monetary power, some want physical body power. I see many people bodybuilding here. So what about the soul power? I mean, we stop to look at the body, make the body look pretty, tone the body, to exercise the body. But then what about the mind? Are we stopping to flex the muscles of the mind? So when we talk about empowerment, it's not always obvious. It's not always visible how powerful a soul is. until that soul is seen to be tested. So for example, am I able to remain patient? Am I able to remain calm? Am I able to remain kind in the face of insult? All these are qualities and powers in the soul, and that's what I call as empowerment. Real empowerment is being able to do that which you want when you want. Physical power doesn't allow you that. Physical power may say, okay, you can lift what, 50 kilos, 100 kilos? And that's limited, that's it. But the mind, can I exercise my thoughts in such a way that I'm able to manifest, I'm able to create my reality how I want? Now that is incredible. That is something to think about. So I believe that with meditation, we can create such powerful thoughts that we create the life that we want. And that is the secret, actually. That is the secret that people talk about in the world, but this is the secret of how you can use the power of your mind to create your peace and happiness. And that is totally within your own hands. Inner work is really about looking at the self, working on the soul, taking charge, taking responsibility for your thoughts and feelings. I think many of us play the blame game, where I feel that you are responsible for my happiness. You are responsible for my peace, my calm. And how do we express this? By blaming the other person. So if I'm blaming the other person, what am I also saying? I'm saying that only you can fix it for me. And so inner work is about taking total responsibility for myself. And that means how to manage my life. Why am I reacting? What are my triggers? Why do I get upset? What's going on? What's the inner dynamic of the soul? So when I begin to look at myself, when the spotlight is turned onto me and I look at myself, then I realize, aha, it's because of this and this. And then I begin to change. And that's the reason for the inner work. It's not to see and then get upset. It's not to see and then get depressed. No. It's a bit like when we are tested in school and the teachers give us exams, right? Every week, every month, and then at the end of the year. And it's to see, okay, how far have we learned what we are being taught? So when things come towards us, it's really a chance for us to sit and reflect. Why is this happening? So inner work is, it's sitting with the self, but not necessarily only while sitting. You could be walking, moving, working, driving, whatever. But it's to keep looking inside the mind, inside the heart, inside the soul. And then there's lots of tools in the book as well, how to work with that. There's lots of questions to be answered as well. And there's also some meditation commentaries within that book that one can practice. One can speak to themselves and experience what is being said. Yeah, so I think, again, if we can accept that change is the only constant. In the past also, when nations didn't develop, then they were stuck in the old and traditional. So with the new Renaissance, it's an opportunity for us to not let go of the past. No, take the best from the past, take the best from our roots. But there needs to be this ability to adapt and to adjust. And the image that I like to give is the image of the tree, where the tree is so deeply rooted in its roots, in its culture, in its tradition, in its values, but then it has the ability to be flexible also, to sway with the winds, with the waves. And so real change is really about changing what's going on in the soul. There's a lot of things around us that we cannot change. And actually, we shouldn't try. I mean, not that we don't take risk, but first we have to see, can I change myself from inside? If I can change myself from inside, then maybe I won't need to change from outside. So let's say, for example, I'm not getting on with my neighbor, and then I'm constantly sending them bad wishes, that they keep making noise, their dog keeps barking, there's lots of smells coming from them. Okay, now I can either move from there, and that's the end of my problem, or I can choose and say, okay, how can I adapt? How can I adjust? And maybe, I can also communicate some things to them that I feel comfortable with. So if I did learn to adapt and change and communicate, and there were some shifts that happened, then you see, I don't need to move physically. So this is just a metaphor that we want to move away from relationships because we can't manage the change. So if I just change from inside out, then everything is perfect. Everything that's happening around me is as it should be. But again, it's about taking responsibility for self-change. There's a very beautiful motto of the Brahma Kumaris that when I change, the world changes. Now, it's not literally the world changes, but because I changed, my vision changed, my attitude changed. So the world looks like a completely different place to me. So this is something to bear in mind. I change and the world changes. So, okay, one thing I do strongly recommend to people who are in such situations is just try and keep good company. I'll give you an example. So in one of our retreat centers somewhere, there was a young fellow. He was about 26, 27, and he was coming with his father just to help in the garden. And then I started chatting with him because he'd only come for the day and leave. So one day I thought, okay, I've got a few minutes, let me chat with him. Then I heard his story. And the story is that he was into drugs, and anyway, he got into trouble and all this. And so he's at home, and so his father asked him, do you want to come and do some voluntary work with me? And he said, okay. And he really enjoyed coming to the retreat center. So then as I was chatting with him every week, then I said to him, okay, would you like to help more? Let's make it a regular pattern. Let's make it a habit. He said, I love being here. I love all of you. I love doing what I do. And we said, okay, so let's further this. So this is just an example of how first, we also need to reach out to people, but then we also have to give them our good company. And when we do, it kind of helps them to come out. We're just giving them that helping hand to step out of their stuff just enough so that they can regain that control over their life. So find good company, keep good company of your thoughts. Have positive conversations. This is what I would suggest to people in such situations. I would suggest visit some of our centers because there's always good company there. There's always people willing to speak to you about positive things. So visit some of our meditation centers around the world.